Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association. If you have a news topic or event that you would like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 970-677-4119. Today's show runs Thursday at noon and is uploaded to our YouTube channel and our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page to watch on demand. Today is November 14th, 2019. And now the news at noon. From the Journal, Ted S. Warren, AP Photo. The Dolores Town Board's debate on whether to legalize in-town sales of marijuana was a story of threes that failed to reach resolution. The board had three options, voted three times, and each vote deadlocked at 3-3. We have not handled our responsibility, Mayor Chad Wheelis said after the third deadlocked vote at Tuesday's board meeting. Planning and Zoning Commissioner Jerry Whited said the split votes reflect the community, and that is partly why he would like to see the question of legalizing marijuana and placing a transaction fee on pot sales put before the voters. You are looking at a town that's split, he said. After the deadlocked votes, Wheelis tabled the issue until December, when the board will have to take action because the town's moratorium on marijuana grows and the sale of medical and retail marijuana expires December 31st. Wheelis encouraged the entire board to attend the December meeting. Trustee Jennifer Stark was absent Tuesday, leading to the deadlocked votes. Another option for the board could have been to ban retail marijuana shops. All three options, extending the moratorium, sending the question to the voters, or banning marijuana sales, will remain on the table for the board to consider next month. Resident Marie Battelle said she would prefer the town board make a decision after researching the issue. Though her knee-jerk reaction is to oppose retail marijuana sales, she also called for resolution of the lingering issue. Let's just get it done and decide it one way or the other, she said. The board seemed to favor putting a question to the voters, with two of the board's three failed motions focusing on ballot questions. One of the motions would have placed the question on the April 2020 ballot, and the other would have placed it on the November 2020 ballot. Some trustees were concerned placing a question on the April ballot would be too tight of a timeline. A November ballot question likely would draw larger participation and would allow time for new town board members to take their seats and a new town manager to settle in, said Trustee James Baird. He made a motion to put the question on the November ballot. Baird later voted against his own motion. He said in an interview after the meeting he could never support marijuana sales because as a coach he observed more problems with marijuana among students since legalization, even though students are underage and shouldn't have it. Another failed motion would have extended the moratorium for a year. Trustee Tracy Murphy said she didn't want more delays. I hate to just keep kicking the can down the road. I don't feel like that is what we were elected to do, she said. One question the board researched was law enforcement costs associated with marijuana legalization. 8 communities that have legalized marijuana did not see significant cost increases for law enforcement, Murphy said. Safety was the main concern for residents who spoke against legalizing pot shops. Dolores School Board member Lynetta Shull presented a formal letter from the board opposing legalizing marijuana shops in town because it could harm students. Residents Kyan Maloney said she opposed marijuana sales because it could create unsafe environments. She said she has observed the negative effect of marijuana sales in Cortez, including an increase in vagrancy. Quote, I don't want that to come to Dolores, she said. My editorial comment, not necessarily the opinion of this station, this program, or those affiliated with DCBN, is that this debate is long from over. Making anecdotal conclusions of vagrancy related to marijuana or other issues for marijuana use already illegal for children and people underage in schools that need to be addressed, and more data needs to be found to rely on facts and not on emotions. Reported in the Journal, photo Patrick Armijo, a Farmington man charged with 2 felony counts of vehicular assault in a head-on crash that seriously injured a Cortez man, is scheduled for surgery next week, and a judge is considering granting him a temporary release from jail to undergo that procedure. In addition, Montezuma County Judge Jenny Lynn Everett set a preliminary hearing date of December 19th for Thaddeus M. Ponder. Besides felony and vehicular assault charges, Ponder has been charged with driving under the influence, reckless driving, failing to stop at a red light, leaving the scene of an accident, failing to report an accident, and violating habitual criminal law standards. Public Defender John Moran informed Montezuma County Judge Jenny Lynn Everett that Ponder has a surgery scheduled at San Juan Regional Medical Center next week, and he might ask for a temporary release from jail so he could undergo that surgery. Everett said that she could not issue a release until she had adequate information about the need for the release and the conditions of the release. She also noted no officer was assigned to the court who is certified to supervise Ponder in 2 states, Colorado and New Mexico, during a temporary release. In a previous advisement hearing, District Attorney Will First said the investigation was ongoing and additional charges could be filed against Ponder, who is being held in the Montezuma County Detention Center on a $75,000 cash surety bond. On October 22nd, Ponder is suspected of causing a head-on crash on U.S. Highway 160-491 in a construction zone south of Cortez that severely injured Kenneth R. Todd, age 71, of Cortez. Todd suffered a fractured rib, a pelvis injury, a spleen injury, a broken femur, and a punctured lung. He was taken by helicopter to San Juan Regional Medical Center in Farmington. According to the Colorado State Patrol, Ponder was speeding southbound in a red Ford F-250 pickup, crossed the center lane of traffic in a work zone, and hit a silver Impala driven by Todd head-on. Ponder reportedly hit another vehicle in Cortez before the head-on crash and clipped a guardrail. Ponder also was injured and was transported to Southwest Memorial Hospital. According to a case affidavit, several people reported a drunken driver in a red pickup traveling in the same area. The CSP said witnesses saw the truck passing on the shoulder and weaving recklessly. One witness estimated it was traveling 80 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour construction zone. The construction zone was active at the time of the crash, and there were numerous workers in the immediate area of the crash, according to the State Patrol affidavit. Drug use is also a suspected cause based on statements and actions made by Ponder, police said. At the hospital, Ponder was incoherent and uncooperative, the affidavit states. On October 23rd, during the court bond hearing, First said Ponder has a criminal record in New Mexico and Colorado, including robbery, assault, parole violations, and sexual assault. Ponder is also facing a DUI trial in San Juan County, New Mexico, and was driving without a license. Reported in the Durango Herald, photo courtesy Center for Snow and Avalanche Studies. Snow patterns are changing across the world in mountain communities, and the time is now for places like Southwest Colorado to adapt, said Heidi Stelzer, a Fort Lewis College professor and local climate scientist. Stelzer spoke on Wednesday afternoon at the San Juan Citizens Alliance's Green Business Roundtable about the future of mountain economics amid a warming climate. Recently, Stelzer was an author of the Mountains chapter of the United Nations International Panel on Climate Change report on how less snow is expected to alter the environment. The report was released in September. Stelzer said mountains don't cover much of the Earth's surface, but they serve as the headwaters for vast numbers of people, cities, and agricultural lands. But increasingly, with global temperatures on the rise, and the presence and persistence of ice and snow on the landscape are changing across the world's mountains. Systems are changing in a way I never expected to see, Stelzer said. One of the key findings in the IPCC's report, for instance, was weighing the reality of disappearing glaciers and the potential impacts on the communities that rely on them in places like the Andes and the Himalayas. News of changing snow is concerning to me, she said, and it means some mountain communities may not have the water they need, and they may need to relocate, just like the small island communities in the South Pacific. While the situation in the San Juan Mountains isn't in dire straits, researchers have noted changes in snow patterns here, signaling the need to adapt. The study found snow arrives later, melts sooner, and covers less ground than in years past. It's hard to talk about it in a community that loves its snow and where businesses depend on that snowpack, Stelzer said. But while the news isn't great, there's so much we can do to improve the situation. Stelzer said it's imperative to reduce the amount of fossil fuel emissions and shift to more renewable energy sources. For the carbon dioxide that is in the atmosphere, she said, there needs to be a concerted effort to take those gases out of the air. And she said it's important to make strides to curb climate change, not just on a global scale, but also locally. One example, she said, would be to address the dust on snow issues, which accelerates melting of the high country snowpack. The dust, she says, comes from high deserts around the Colorado Plateau, and local officials should push for better management of these lands to reduce the spread of dust. When those lands become available for further development, there should be active campaigns to minimize the impacts, she said. It's a shared watershed. The IPCC's report revealed warming global temperatures are affecting snowpack across the world and communities in those areas in vastly different ways. There are people who are already seeing disaster and catastrophes in their backyard, she said, to a far greater extent than we've seen here. And as a side note, researchers and scientists are also looking at geoengineering and weather wars as being part of the changes of our weather patterns. That, along with the impact of the solar magnetic fields, there may be quite a few elements impacting our daily weather outlook. So now let's take a look at that local weather ahead. Today's weather is sunny with a high near 57 degrees, north winds around 5 miles an hour becoming southwest. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low chance of around 34 degrees, with those winds east-southeast, again just light at 5 miles an hour. Friday, looking for another sunny day with a high near 58 degrees, southeast winds 5 to 10 miles an hour becoming southwest in the afternoon. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 33, with southeast winds light around 5 miles an hour. And then the weekend starts off with those dry, gusty winds once again. Saturday, mostly sunny day with a high near 57, light and variable wind becoming northwest 5 to 10 miles an hour in the morning, with winds gusting as high as 25 miles an hour. Saturday night, mostly clear with a low around 26, and a little cooler for Sunday, sunny with a high near just 53. Sunday night, mostly clear and a low around 29. And then next week, it looks to repeat the same pattern as it starts with Monday, sunny and a high near 58 degrees, mostly sunny, and then clear for the night Monday with a low around 28. And into Tuesday, again sunny with a high near 57. Tuesday night, partly cloudy and a low around 30. And now back to the news. Reported in the Durango Herald, Photo Bureau of Reclamation. The Bureau of Reclamation is moving forward with negotiations with the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority for the transfer of operations and maintenance for a portion of the Navajo Gallup Water Supply Project. The project will divert roughly 37,376 acre-feet of water annually from the San Juan River Basin as part of the Navajo Nation's San Juan River Basin Water Rights Settlement in 2009. According to the Bureau of Reclamation, inadequate water supply affects both the Jicarilla Apache and Navajo peoples to live and work, with over 40% of Navajo Nation households hauling water to meet daily needs. The Cutter lateral portion of the project, supplied by the Cutter Reservoir near Bloomfield, is expected to be complete in the spring of 2020 and will provide water delivery to the Navajo and Jicarilla Apache nations. But before construction finishes, terms on an operations and maintenance contract will need to be negotiated and transferred to the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority, said Patrick Page, Deputy Construction Engineer with the Bureau of Reclamation. Although the design process for the full 280-mile pipeline project began in March of 2009 and construction on the Cutter lateral began in 2015, this will mark the first transfer from construction to completion. The Bureau of Reclamation is tasked with constructing the pipeline project, and when specific portions of the project are completed, operational responsibility is transferred to the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority. The next transfer involving the San Juan lateral is expected in 2024, Page said. Quote, "It's a huge milestone. It marks the first delivery of project water," he said. Page said the negotiations will identify what is to be transferred, set the process for transfer inspections, and lay out responsibilities and how the water will be delivered to users. The third public meeting to continue negotiating the operations and maintenance contract for the Cutter lateral portion of the project will be Thursday in Fort Defiance, Arizona. And from the Telluride News, and this is a courtesy photo of the group. Climbers from the Telluride High School Climbing Club loaded into several cars and headed to Grand Junction to compete in the first competition of the season this Saturday. At the Grand Valley Climbing Center, the atmosphere was festive and charged with a unique energy, somewhere between an athletic competition and a neighborhood barbecue. While teenagers tested their skills on routes on a 15-foot boulder wall and ropes, parents milled in the back, chatting and calling words of encouragement to the athletes, while pop hits played from the speakers. Scores were tallied, maybe they need a DJ. Scores were tallied by witnesses, competitors, coaches, parents, and spectators, based on the top 5 highest scoring routes completed by the climbers. Quote, "I like how there are no judges," senior Lachlan Boiling said. "Everyone's just climbing and working together. It's an honor system, and it's really fun." The climbers spoke fondly of the many skills honed while climbing and competing together, and emphasized the communal nature of the sport, such as working together, building mental strength, and celebrating everyone's improvements. Placing high seemed much less important to the athletes than the skills they gained beyond physical strength and agility on the wall. Speaking of the environment at the comp, senior Michael Price said, "It's not really competitive, but it's competitive against yourself. I think that's really healthy. In a lot of sports, you're trying to be the best, but here you're just trying to be the best of yourself." With 10 climbers attending the season's first competition compared to a high of 5 for any competition last year, it showed the growing interest in the club among local high school students. At a November 6th training session in the high school climbing gym, 26 young climbers alongside 5 volunteer coaches filled the gym with the buzz of chatter and clouds of chalk dust as climbers powdered their palms for better grip. It is great to see so many students trying a new sport and coming into the climbing gym to see what it's all about, said Dave Nessis, a coach and local mountain guide. It's also free, the coaches are all volunteers, and comps are just asked $20 per person and aren't mandatory. Everyone is welcome. I just started, said sophomore Isla Canal, a first-time competitor. I love the outdoors, and I've been to lots of places that seem like they would have great climbing, so I would like to be able to do it safely and confidently. While the sport has been popular with Telluride's youth, it has experienced a resurgence in the past 8 years. Longtime volunteer coach Dave Chu remembers when it was less organized. While leaving the gym after teaching for the Telluride Academy after-school climbing program, Chu noticed some teenage boys who would casually saunter into the gym and try to appear like they were just going to lift weights. They were actually in there to climb, he recalled. I wanted them to have a safe way to climb. While the club has consisted of a small dedicated core crew and a handful of enthusiastic coaches the past couple of years, things are changing. It's busier, more exciting, and more interesting now, said senior Wiley Holbrook, a longtime participant. It used to be all boys, and now we've got some diversity in the gym. One of the students said it's really hard and fun. It's a good community. Locally in Dolores County, there are several outdoor climbing areas in the Dolores River corridor that may start to see more attraction in recreational tourism in the coming years. And today's High Canyon Country happenings. November 15th, Music at Fenceline Cider will host L'Avalanche at 7 p.m. As a force of nature sliding down the mountainside, L'Avalanche rocks a fiery but subtly smooth 1960s groove, rhythm, and blues based around the notable Hammond B3 sound, with Mike Enriquez on the Hammond B3 organ, John Sully Sullivan on the drum set, and Tyler Simmons on the electric guitar, giving inertia to this dynamic natural phenomenon, age-old danceability, and contemporary tonal modulation blend with the power to shape landscapes. November 16th, learn the art of letterpress and print holiday cards at the Mancos Common Press. Starting at 9 a.m., customize and print your own holiday cards. Take home 20 cards and envelope sets to send to friends and family. Become familiar with the art of letterpress printing by typesetting and printing on one-of-a-kind card designs utilizing images and lead type from the historic archives of the Mancos Times. Also November 16th in Cortez at the Sunflower Theater, starting at 7 p.m., Sarah Ilsley and friends will be performing. Their concert, quote, About Love, Life, and Death, is colored by traditional and new music in Spanish and Portuguese with a decidedly jazzy bent. Some of these songs will be familiar to the audience, and some will be a discovery. This concert embraces the circles of life and also touches a little of the traditions of the Day of the Dead. This band tours with the intention of connecting people through music and opening their hearts to different sounds and languages. This group believes strongly in giving back to the communities where they perform by selecting an organization to support. This time, they have chosen to fundraise for Renew, the domestic and sexual violence crisis hotline in Cortez. Half of the proceeds from the concert will benefit this organization to help with costs for the wonderful work that they do in the community. And I post up all of these High Canyon Country happenings on our Facebook page, which is DCTV News at Noon. So you can look that up with the phone numbers and the dates and the links. And we also upload the daily news to our YouTube channel, which you can search for with the same name and subscribe to. That's DCTV News at Noon. And the broadcast is also posted to our general Facebook page, where we add links to other stories of interest, share other events or news, and where you can join in on the conversation. This is your local community TV station. So if you have something you'd like to share, contact us. The email, again, is dcbnnews@gmail.com, and you can call the station. If we're not here, just leave a message, 970-677-4119. Thank you for tuning in. News at Noon now airs at noon Monday through Friday, and then is available on demand online on our YouTube channel and posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page. We ask that you like it there and please share it with your friends and family. It's also rebroadcast at 2 p.m., 6 p.m., and 9 a.m. the following day. This has been a production of DCTV for the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Thank you for watching.